Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl if you're new here, and today I'm here to bring you my January wrap-up. I read 5 books in the month of January. I am currently in the middle of Red Rising, but I am filming this a little early, so if I end up finishing Red Rising or any books after Red Rising, I will insert a clip at the end of this, so my number might change, but as of right now, I have read 6 books, which I'm pretty proud of considering I wanted to start this year off strong, and I think I've done that. So I'm going to give you a little synopsis of each of these books, tell you my star rating, and just a couple general thoughts about them. I am so behind on my Goodreads, typed up reviews. So when I eventually get those done, I will link those below. But yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to get right into these. These are in no particular order. They're just literally in the order they are sitting next to me. Alright, so the first book I want to talk about today is Cooking as Fast as I Can by Kat Cora. This is her ghost-written biography, and it is quite short. It's only like a little over 200 pages, so I flew through it, and I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but what this book was not it. And what I mean by that is that this book tackles some really, really heavy topics, and especially given how short it is, I wasn't expecting that. It deals with sexual assault, especially of a minor. It deals with depression, alcoholism. It deals with coming out, because Kat Cora herself likes women, and I didn't know that going into that either. And overall, I found this quite enjoyable, but my issue is that the pacing was really weird. We would flit from one scene to the next really quickly, but that also included some really major time skips that were just kind of brushed over, or really tough in-depth topic would come up and then it would just be glossed over and then pushed on really quickly. So I think this book would have benefited by being a little bit longer and being a little more fleshed out, but overall I really did enjoy it. I love reading books about chefs and getting behind the scenes looks at the culinary world, because I have absolutely no desire to be a chef or to be in the culinary world. So this gives me a look into it without having to be there myself, and like I said, I enjoyed it. This next book is the only one I have a review for, a filmed review for, so you know what it is. That's Eclipse. 1 star. Would give it less if I could. This book was a hot pile of garbage. If you are interested at all in my thoughts about it, I will leave that video linked below. I'm not going to really get into it because I have a 20-minute discussion video about how much I dislike this book. So yeah, you can go check that out. But overall, read this one. It was bad. It was bad. Alright, so the next book I read in the month of January was City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Mortal Instrument series, and I enjoyed this book a lot more than the first one. The first one to me felt very much like a setup novel, felt very much like an introductory novel. It felt very much like, here are these characters, let me tell you a lot about them really quickly so you can understand them and understand the relation, and this book did not feel that way. This felt like we actually started getting into the plot and we actually started getting into the story, which I appreciate. I don't like Clary very much. I just don't. She's kind of, I don't want to say she's irritating, but she is. And compared to the other characters, I just don't find her that interesting. So anytime the story inevitably revolves back around to her, I'm just well, I don't really give a shit. Sorry. But I'm hoping that eventually changes, because I know she's the main protagonist for the rest of these novels, so I'm stuck with her for a while yet. I really enjoy the fact that we got to see Magnus more, and if I could just have a book that's just him doing things on the day-to-day, forgive my pun, but mundane things, just living his life, watching reruns of television shows, going grocery shopping, I would be content with that, because he's such an interesting character, and he's such an interesting character and definitely one of my favorite of the series. I really enjoy his reaction to events, but overall, I enjoyed this one. Like I said, I enjoyed it more than the first. I gave it a 4. Yeah, I gave it a 4 stars. I have no idea when I'm going to pick up the next one, though, because I only owned the first 2, so yeah. At some point I'm going to need to pick up the third one, and I've been buying them when I find them really cheaply at Goodwill, so honestly it's going to rest in the hands of fate when I'll get the next one. Alright, and the next book I want to talk about is one that I gave 5 stars because it's a favorite, and that is Harry Potter. It's all dusty. I did not read this copy of it. Alright, and that is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I checked out an ebook from my library to read it because I did not feel like reading this really chunky hardcover. It is the 6th book, if you are not familiar, and it is the one I remember the least. And that is because, honestly, I don't want to say it's the most forgettable one, but comparative to the previous books in the series, it is definitely way slower in pacing. Obviously, like the last 150 pages, shit gets crazy. Like, if you've read the book, seen the movies, you know what I'm talking about. But compared to like Goblet of Fire, which is like pretty much go, go, go for the entire thing, and then like ramps up at the end, this is like Harry's just obsessed with Draco for the entire book. He's up to something, and it is a lot more character building and a lot more backstory. You learn all about Tom Riddle's back, like, history and him coming to Hogwarts and him progressing through his studies and his family history. And while that's interesting and I enjoyed that aspect, I understand why I didn't remember much about this book. Overall, like I said, though, I gave it a 5 stars. I am loving my reread of the series. I don't know when I'm going to pick up Deathly Hallows because that's going to be an emotional journey. I've read it before. I know what happens. I don't know if I'm ready for it, but at some point I will pick it up. But for now, I really did enjoy this one. Alright, so the last book I want to talk about today is, ironically enough, the first book I read in the month of January, and that is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the first prequel short story collection in the Witcher series, and oof, it was so good. I gave it a 5 stars, and I really love this one. I loved it way more than Blood of Elves, which is the first book in the original trilogy. This definitely felt more like the games in that, like, one short story would be what, like, essentially would be a quest in The Witcher 3, and then there was, like, little interlude stories, and then another big short story, and then an interlude story, and then another big short story. And I enjoyed that. I really liked expanding on the world and getting a backstory. He meets some characters that I know from the games but aren't really fleshed out because it's the 3rd game. They expect you to know these characters. So I really enjoyed seeing them and like getting their story, and some of the monsters he fights in this are just insane. So in this book is when he officially meets Yennefer for the first time, and you learn her backstory, which is just crazy. And Dandelion is more fleshed out, but he's so different than he is in the game, which I've only played the 3rd one because I'm kind of a graphics snob, which I'm sorry, but he's just kind of like a lush and like I don't want to say a creep in the books, but like in the game, he's very charismatic because he's a bard, so he's very charismatic and he woos women constantly, which he does in the book. But he's also, like, I don't know. He's just drunk all the time. It's really funny, and I liked seeing those, like, character trait disparities. But now this is a lot earlier than The Witcher 3 would take place, so that could be because of it. So that could be the cause of it. But overall, I enjoyed this book a lot. I'm really looking forward to picking up, I think, Sword of Destiny is the 2nd short story collection before I can continue with the trilogy. I'm not 100% sure if that's the title of it, but I look forward to picking up the next one, because if I enjoy it as much as this first one, I am in for a good time. So like I said, those are all the books I've read in January. I am in the middle of Red Rising. It is so good. Oh my god. I understand the hype. It is so good. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out all of my links down below. They include my social media links, my Etsy link, anything like that, as well as I will link below all the books I've talked about if you're interested in learning more about them, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye!